Nadine. How are you
Thank
doing?
you.
And welcome to this From Africa festival. We're very excited, and thanks, Nadine. You know, we've worked together for quite a while to get all these artists together on this. In the city, we'd originally planned to have a live event, but because of the current circumstances, we're doing this online. But you know what? I've been so grateful to all the artists who've submitted work for this mini festival in the middle of the afternoon in February. And I wanted to acknowledge that we all live on Indigenous land. The museum itself is situated on the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Iroquois, Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Mississaugas of the New Credit. And we're very grateful to be able to live and work on this land. Um, so, with that, I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts about this lineup, this incredible lineup of artists we have today?
Yeah, it's very exciting. There are so many, there's so much diversity in African music, and the city of Toronto has really been, over the years, the music has really evolved, but a lot of musicians have contributed greatly to the landscape that we have here in the city. And I'm excited about the lineup. It's quite diverse. We're going to be traveling all over different regions of the continent and different types of artistic expressions in terms of traditional or contemporary music and also instruments. So, we've got a nice mixture of artists, and they are all living in the city of Toronto, except one of them who's living very far up north. That's Madagascar Slim. And, as you were saying, Amir, COVID has been a big challenge over the last year and a couple of months. It's really been challenging for artists to operate within, this new landscape. And during the pandemic, many artists, have been facing a lot of challenges, but we're very happy today to be bringing you some voices and stories of African artists who are based in Toronto. And we could tell you so much about them, but I think it's better to let you watch first and experience some of the wonderful music and stories that these artists have to offer.
Okay. Well, thank you, Nadine, for those words of introduction. And we'll be talking in between the different 8 performances that will take place today. And we start off with Njacko Backo. Enjoy.
Hi everybody, I'm so happy to be here with you guys. My name is Njacko Backo. I was born in Cameroon. Now I live in Toronto, West Main, Meeting Place. I'm so glad I'm happy to be part of this series with OKAN Museum to celebrate the Black History Month. Thanks OKAN Museum, and thanks all the artists, and welcome all the artists that will be part of this series. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad, so everybody, happy Black History Month to everybody around the world. So now I'll be playing you a few songs. The first one will be with this beautiful instrument called Dongoni. Dongoni, originally is 16, but this is 12. You find this in West Africa. So we're playing one of the oldest songs that I know since I was a little child back home in the village. So I will play it for you. Mbembem Late Tampo. Thank you. Enjoy. tamboro, même lettre ou tamboro, même lettre ou tamboro, diable tu tiens moi gendarmerie, 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 gendarmerie. Oui. Allah. Même lettre ou tamboro, même lettre ou tamboro, même lettre ou tamboro, même lettre ou tamboro, diable tu tiens ma gendarmerie, 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 gendarmerie, gendarmerie. Oui. Oh, yeah, thank you. And this song is about all of us. We live on this planet together. And there's so many problems around us. And this song is to invite everybody that together we have to join our voice together and pray together for peace on this planet. And we can do it. Peace and love, we can do that. So this song is to invite everybody to stand up together and pray. Pray and pray again. Thank you. Enfants de la terre, enfants du monde entier, enfants du soleil, enfants de la vie, joignons oui nos voix, tout ensemble, oui pour prier, pour l'amour, sur cette terre qui nous héberge, n'est-ce pas? Ah oui, il faut vraiment prier sur cette terre. Prions, 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 prions tout ensemble pour l'amour sur cette terre qui nous héberge. Prions, 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 prions tout ensemble pour ces enfants qui souffrent jour et nuit dans les camps de réfugiés au-delà de la terre. Ah oui, hein? Prions, 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 prions tout ensemble pour ces enfants qui pleurent jour et nuit de la Palestine. Et que l'ONU ferme la bouche et les yeux et ne dise rien, n'est-ce pas? Oh oui, on y va! Prions, 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 prions tout ensemble pour l'amour sur cette terre qui nous héberge. Oh yeah. Allah, 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 Aliyah, Allah, 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 Aliyah, Allah, Ali, Ali. Prions, 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 prions tout ensemble pour l'amour sur cette terre qui nous héberge. Happy Blandine Mbiya. Happy Blandine Mbiya to all, everybody. Thank you, Megan. This is just a short little song just to say thanks to all mothers around the world. No matter what we think we are, we spent 9 months in the womb of a beautiful mom somewhere. So mom, we love you, and happy Black History Month to all mothers. Thank you. Mama galata, mengayo belamo, mengayo. Mbiya mama na terasi bemano, mensonga man. Menamo. Meju pon chankonio, menamo, mabankoni. Nechuya baba, mesentu tonkonia. Yeah. Mama, oh mama, makuwe. Thank you, Mom.
So that's not easy to do, to perform without an audience in front of you. That's a pretty, and then he put such a smile on my face because he's really infectious.
He is. And, Njacko has released 12 albums over his career. And, he's from a small village in Cameroon, Bazoo. And he also, you can see him around the city performing with his group Kalimbas at work. So, he performs a variety of instruments, but yeah, it was very uplifting to see and hear his voice.
Yeah, a good storyteller, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I wanted to point out that, Saba Sabina worked on all the edits, worked with the artists and edited the videos. Shout out to her. I think she did a really great job. So I'm happy. And, it was when we saw all the videos, submissions that were coming in, my colleague Rachel, who's also worked really hard on this at the museum, she said, you've got to start with Njacko. Like,
yes. Yeah, that's how I felt also when I looked at it. The order was perfect. Thanks, Rachel. And, it was just so uplifting, and also the beautiful background of all those instruments. And, Njacko plays not just Ngoni kalimba, he's also plays drums. He's an all-around multi-instrumentalist.
And what were the instruments we saw him play?
He was playing the Ngoni. Yeah. And actually he builds a lot of those instruments himself. He also was playing what they call in Cameroon the kalimba, which is known as mbira, and it has different names depending on the country in Africa. But yeah, he plays kalimba. He's also plays drums. He's an educator. He teaches children in the French schools across the city, and also an all-around wonderful musician.
Well, you started off at the beginning, you mentioned this vast continent of Africa and the diversity that's there. And our next artist is from Madagascar, which, is off the mainland of that continent on the east side. And it's the influences in the music there, have come from the Arab world, from South Asia, from the East African coast.
And South African also.
And South African.
Yeah, because if you look at Madagascar, you go to Mozambique, it's kind of straight out from there.
Right.
I also wanted to take the time to just properly, I don't know whether he said that, but I'm going to introduce his real name because, you know, he was given the name Madagascar Slim. I
Yeah.
think it was by Jeff Healey and the blues guys in the city years ago.
Yeah.
But his real name is Randria Manananjara Rodolfo Bisata Jean Lejeune. That is his real name.
Wow.
I know, it's quite a mouthful. Those names from Madagascar are quite complicated.
Complicated history, right?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
complex history. I don't know if complicated was the right word, but definitely complex.
And as you said, a very diverse island. I was in Madagascar a few years ago, and it was amazing the type of music that's coming out of there. And a lot of it is within the island. It hasn't actually reached outside. So we're very proud to see artists like Madagascar Slim, who's won a few Juno Awards, not just with his own work, but also with his work with Tricontinental, which is a guitar band basically based in Canada. He's also won awards with the African Guitar Summit and also in his own name. So excited for that. Yeah.
We're very grateful that he was able to create something for today for us. So.
And he moved very, very far up north. He's living like, I don't know, an hour or two north of North Bay. You know, I don't know how many African musicians are living up there, but he's up there. So, you know, we'll have to.
Lucky them, right? But I'm glad this virtual world made it possible for him to participate today. So everyone, let's watch Madagascar Slim.
Hello, my name is Madagascar Slim, and I'm happy to be part of the OKAN virtual festival entitled Songs from Africa, and it's celebrating Black history. I'm from Madagascar, which is very close to the mainland Africa. It's about 400 kilometers, I think, and by being so close, our music has a lot of African influence. But at the same time, you know, like Madagascar, we used to have French people in Madagascar and English, so they all brought their culture, and our music has a lot to do with that too. It's a mix, and for me, growing up there, I had to, you know, like I wasn't really sorting it out. I was just absorbing all these different kinds of music, and as I was learning to play the guitar, I guess I was just trying to put it in, you know, learn how to play it. But I do remember clearly that I really just wanted to play rock and roll and blues. And only the really big names made it to Madagascar. I mean, their music, like the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, and B.B. King, Hendrix. So I was really influenced by those and really trying to put in the work. But at the same time, growing up in Madagascar, I was surrounded by Malagasy music. So all these things, you know, came in me, and I tried to find out my way in music. A long time I didn't play Malagasy music, but when I moved to Canada, that's you know, those things just, they were in me. And suddenly, you know, a friend of mine told me, why don't you play the music from your country? So I've been doing that. And so I play Malagasy music, and there's a mix too of, you know, like a little bit of folk music, different style. And this is how it sounds. This song is called Burburi. And it is from my last CD. And what it means is burbur. It means round. And I'm talking about the things that, you know, like I saw, you know, like, and the lyrics goes like this: burbur, ininitan burbur, which means this world is round, but the people seems like they are asleep. Either they pretend not to see, or they put a blind, on their eyes, because look at what's going on. All the people suffering, all the nasty thing, and they say, well, it's none of our business. It doesn't concern us. So I wrote the song because I was concerned, and especially this, in these times, I think it's, I think it's on point. Okay, so this is how it goes. Oh, there you have it. Thank you very much, Madagascar Slim. Thank you.
Wow. I was watching that left hand, right? I just wish that the camera was slightly tilted lower so I could see the right hand view, right? But it was just, wow, that guitar. He just makes it sing.
Absolutely wonderful sound and a real blues man, you know, but he's got all that little bit of Malagasy roots in there, and it's just wonderful to hear.
Yeah, no, I just loved it. I could really relate to that.
And to show also the diversity of what African music is and what African artists are inspired by. So many different influences, and it makes sense that somebody from Madagascar would hear all these different sounds because the island is filled with people from different backgrounds and cultures.
Yeah, I was born in the Congo and in Bukavu, but I grew up in Kampala in Uganda, and you know my dad had 8 brothers growing up, right? So all my uncles, so you know the Beatles, Hendrix, the Stones, Joplin, classical music, opera, all of that was around all the time because of all these uncles I had and all their different tastes.
Wonderful. Lots of music to listen to and hear and be inspired by.
Yeah, so you know that experience, I think, and I really related to what Madagascar Slim was saying.
Yeah,
Our
because
Yep.
sorry, a lot of people think that, you know, you're going to hear music from a village in Africa, people in traditional costumes. And, you know, Africa has produced so much great music of all varying types. There's rock music, there's punk rock. You can find any type of music pretty well in the continent of Africa. As we're talking about thousands of different cultures and musical expressions, and also all the influences that have, you know, developed, you know, from different people living and sharing their cultures in Africa.
Right. Yeah. We sometimes think that this is the only culturally diverse place, right? But this is all around the world.
Yes.
Our next artist is actually from Egypt, and Maryem Tollar is somebody that I've had the pleasure of working with over the years that the museum has been operating. And you know, she's worked with so many different ensembles, and you know, from tafel music, you know, to a coffee trio, you know, coffee house trio. So really an incredibly versatile artist, and she's from Egypt, and you know, Egypt's in Africa.
Yes, and that's something that, you know, is really wonderful. We were able to include her into this series because, as you said, Egypt is African. It's in Africa geographically. You know, the Nubian people who contributed so much to, you know, civilization, they are found in They call it Lower Egypt, but it's actually the south of Egypt. And Maryem Tollar, her voice has been heard on TV, on films. You know, she, as you said, she's played with so many different ensembles. She's constantly recreating herself and, you know, working with different people around her. So all around wonderful artist.
I first met her when she sang "O Canada," powerful music at the opening of the
Right.
museum.
Amazing. That's the first time you met her.
Yeah, that's the first time I worked with her, and
Wow.
you know, she's a gift that keeps giving. I'm looking forward to this.
Yes, me too.
Hello, I am Maryem Tollar and Maryem Hassan Tollar, and I am so happy to be performing as part of the OKAN Museum's virtual mini festival called Songs from Africa, Celebrating Black History. So my history is that I was born in Cairo, Egypt, and in a place called Heliopolis, which actually means Sun City. In Arabic, they don't call it Heliopolis. We call it Masr al-Gadida, which means New Egypt. And I came to Canada when I was 1 year old, but I have been fortunate enough to go back many times to visit my family. My whole family still lives there. Just my immediate family immigrated here to Canada. And then later on in life, other members of my family came. Some are in Montreal, and now everybody spread out everywhere, as is the case with most people probably in Canada. And so I'm going to be bringing you some traditional songs that I know from Egypt. And I thought I would start with a song called Tichaona Maredza. And I thought that would be a nice song to start with because it says, the beautiful light has risen. Shams al-Shamusa, the beautiful sun. Yalla bina nimla wa nahlib laban al-Gamusa. Let's go down and milk the water buffalo. And it's actually just a folk song in a rural setting. And of course, it's a love song. Most of these songs many of them are love songs. And it's just talking about seeing the beautiful, handsome, dark one by the water, and hoping that the beloved will be interested in me too. So this is Tichaona Maredza. always loved that song. So actually, this instrument that I'm playing is from Egypt. In many of the trips that I went to Egypt, I actually went to study Arabic singing and percussion, specifically this instrument, which is called a riq, which is Arabic tambourine. And I did study a little bit of oud as well. And qanun I actually studied here in Toronto with a wonderful qanun master, an Egyptian named Dr. George Sawa. And he actually introduced me to Arabic singing and all of this, and to many of my teachers back in the Middle East. So yeah, that's the first song. The second song I'm going to sing is another well-known Egyptian folk song called Sallam Alay. It's another love song. And it's saying, the beloved greeted me, the beloved greeted me, the beloved greeted me. And when they greeted me, boy, oh boy, did they greet me. And it's a very fun and kind of uplifting song. And yeah, I'm going to play it with my Arabic tambourine again and my voice. So this is Sallam Alay. Sallam Alay. Short and sweet. I did a little shorter version of that song because normally if you had a full band with you, you would have Nay doing a solo and lots of drums, but it's just me and my drum, and so I just did a little short and sweet version of that song. And yeah, so again, I'm Maryem Hassan Tollar, and I'm so happy that I got to be part of this festival. Thank you to Nadine McNulty for inviting me to be part of it, and thank you to Saba for putting all of the video elements together, and thank you to Amir Ali at the OKAN Museum for hosting this and for making it all happen and making so many beautiful events happen. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope you're all doing okay, and happy Black History Month and celebration of Black culture and all of the things that came out of there. Ooh, good thing I finished singing. So, bye.
So that was uplifting, you know.
Yes.
And a completely different sound than what we heard before, and that's the cool thing.
And, you know, I was thinking, you know, it is challenging to do something solo when you're used to operating mostly with different collectives and bands, and all of a sudden, you know, with the COVID and all the restrictions and the pandemic, artists have been really forced to reinvent themselves in some ways, to be able to perform alone like that. And it was just a wonderful, her voice, it just takes you to Egypt.
It does. It takes you to Egypt for sure. And you know, she worked here. She studied with George Sawa.
Yes, yes.
And so Toronto has like this long history of connections to music from different parts of the world, and I think that that's something that is really cool. And now, you know, we're going to move with the next artist across to the northwest corner of Africa.
Yeah, and Hassan el Hadi, I'm excited for this show too, from Marrakech, Morocco. And, you know, he was inspired by the, you know, the Jama al Fina, the square in Marrakech. For people who have been in Marrakech, or maybe people watching from Morocco, you will know that that square is just full of life. That is where life starts. That's where life begins. It continues. And he was inspired by music from there, but he went on to study at the Marrakech Institute, the conservatory. And along the way, since moving to Canada, he moved to Quebec when he first came here. He's now based in Toronto. And when he first moved to Quebec, or I mean, when he first, you know, moved there, he was working with a lot of Quebecois artists. And he's also inspired a lot by Andalusian music. So he's a multi-instrumentalist. He plays banjo, he plays oud, he plays the Moroccan drums. He also is a composer. And I think that his journey has been interesting in that he started out in a classical world, and then moved himself through his life and different influences and places along the way, picked up a lot of different influences. And he does sing a lot. He does do Berber songs, as well as songs that represent just Andalusian music in general. He's very much influenced by that. However, on this show, he will be performing solo. So it's interesting to see how, you know, each artist deals with playing alone when they're used to playing with other people.
Absolutely. Well, I'm looking forward to this. Everyone, Hassan el Hadi from Morocco.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum, bonsoir tout le monde. My name is Hassan el Hadi, background from Morocco. I am very happy to be part of this mini festival of OKAN Museum of Toronto, celebration of Black history, songs from Africa. And for this occasion, I am going to play two songs. One song is traditional song from south of Morocco, from Sahara, called Leila. It's a traditional song. And I'm going to play another song. It's my composition, inspiration of Berber, like native people, African people. It's called Talwin. Okay, thank you very much. Shukran. كذبت عليا سنة ويا الليلة وكتبت عليا كذبت علي هو ديني والله تديني والله يا ديني والله تديني والله تديني والله تديني والله يا ديني والله تديني والله سنة ويا الليلة سنة ويا جارتي سنة ويا جارتي سنة ويا الليلة ليلة وكذبت علي كذبت علي Thank you, merci, shukran. Thank you for OKAN Museum. And second song is Halloween. It's my composition, but it's inspiration of traditional song from Berber songs. Thank you. Thank you. Merci. شكرا.
He's a really dynamic oud player.
Absolutely.
You know, and he has such a personality that it comes through in a recording from his studio, you know. Very cool.
Yeah, he's a really funny person. He's got a lot of humor, but such a beautiful studio too. It's wonderful how, you know, with all the instruments displayed behind him, it just looks so beautiful. And yes, he really is a master of that instrument and playing it really a unique style. You know, Morocco has some wonderful music. So yeah, Hassan el Hadi, wonderful job.
Yeah. And next up is someone that, you know, I thought maybe you could talk about this particular piece that's coming up with Miss Blandine.
Yes, and you know, Miss Blandine, born in Democratic Republic of Congo, so you know, a country that you know well, and she had moved as a young girl to Lomé, Togo, and was brought up there. I first saw her many years ago in the Stone Church on Davenport singing gospel music, and her voice just really took me back to memories of, you know, East Africa and Congo and that beautiful, beautiful voice. She really has a wonderful career ahead of her. She's, you know, done a lot, and many of the big Congolese artists want to collaborate with her. So she's doing quite well internationally, especially in Africa and in Europe. And one thing about her that I found really unique is that, you know, she always had an idol, Mbiya Bell, who you must know from the Congo, the wonderful singer, the icon. She always followed in her footsteps. And a few years ago, she was actually invited by Mbiya Bell to sing with her on tour because her voice, you know, it really reminds people and emanates from Mbiya Bell. This song that she's doing, it's all about, you know, leaving somewhere, leaving home. and going on a journey and, you know, saying goodbye to those that you love, and also looking ahead to looking at all the beautiful things around you where you are, you know, in Africa, and the river and the trees and everything, and talking about that, and, you know, just leaving. Everybody at some point leaves someplace, and many of our artists who are here in Canada, they've left their homes. Some are not able to go back. Some have gone back, and Blandine did go back. And that particular video was filmed in Kinshasa, Congo. During COVID, she got trapped in Africa, which is a wonderful place to be trapped. She couldn't leave. And so this video is coming to you from there, but she's back now in Toronto. She has come back. So Ms. Blandine.
Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Miss Blandine and I'm here to thank you all for joining us at the OKAN Museum Mini Festival. We are celebrating the African history, the Black history, and I am so excited to be part of this amazing festival that is entitled Songs of Africa. So the song that I'm going to be singing today is called Monano, and Monano basically talks about an individual that is traveling from their homeland to a different country, to a different land, to get a job, to make a better life for themselves. And basically in the song, the person is talking about how sad they are to leave their friends, their family, their loved ones, and he's basically describing the scenery that he's seeing or she is seeing as he or she is traveling. And in the song, the person is traveling by boat. So they're basically talking about the trees and the water and how their family is waving at him or at her, saying goodbye, and other people watching their loved ones traveling on the same boat. Almost like think about the Titanic, you know, when if you have watched Titanic and how people were boarding and they were waving at their family and their friends and everyone. So it is basically the same idea, almost the same idea. And that's what Monano is talking about. And it's also talking about Kinshasa and the beauty of Kinshasa, which is a city in Congo, the capital city of Congo in Africa. So again, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoy my performance, and my name is Miss Blandine. Please follow me on Facebook and Instagram, Miss Blandine. I love you. Bye. Namoni lokola ndoto masuwa matikili bongo natuni pe na bandeko bangai bayebisi nga totikikini malebo natambola loboko mpona pupola elamba napesa mwasi na bana ambote kini natiki mbandakanga na kokende kotala bandeko natika mwakala nakei pilipili libende bandakanga na kokende encore namoni lokola namoni lokola ndoto masuwa matikili bongo natuni pe na bandeko bangai bayebisi nga totikikini malebo natombola loboko mpona pupola elamba napesa mwasi na bana ambote kini natiki mbandakanga na kokende kotala bandeko natika mwakala nakei pilipili libende mbandakanga na kokende Monano ya masua izebe konana miso senakopo à la santé tobengi mwendi sekli mobembo ya masua banampire ozelanga hana koya koito ebuya monano ya masua itebe konana miso senakopo à la santé tobengi wendi sekli mobembo ya masua banampire ozelanga hana koya koito ebuya naye chérie naye chérie naye chérie oh naye chérie Mon anneau, c'est une chanson qui parle d'une personne qui prend un bateau pour partir en voyage. Il quitte Kinshasa, ou elle quitte Kinshasa, pour aller à Mbandaka, une ville qui se trouve au Congo. Voilà, j'ai décidé de chanter cette chanson parce que je suis comme une nomade, toujours partie. Et depuis l'âge de 3 ans, j'ai quitté le Congo. Mais le Congo ne m'a jamais quittée. Alors... Mon anneau ya masua, itebe konana, miso senakopo, à la santé, tobengi wendi sekli. Mobembo ya masua banampire ozelanga hana koa koito ebuya naye chérie naye chérie oh naye
Wow, I totally got goose flesh.
Yeah, beautiful voice. And you know, her personal story, I'm sure that it resonates with all of these artists and many of you who have left your homeland and traveled across the world to seek a different life abroad.
Yeah, it was beautiful, really beautiful. And I kind of felt privileged being there where she was in Kinshasa. You could see the traffic in the back and stuff, and
hear the wind. And I mentioned to her, I said, "Oh, you know, I can hear the wind in the background." And she was laughing and said, "You know, even in the song, she said when the wind was coming, she said it was so strange because she was even singing about all the nature and the breeze and the, you know, from the river, and so it seemed kind of appropriate."
And that's her own composition, correct?
That composition is by the great Pepe Kelly.
Okay.
And Blandine is a composer and songwriter. She released an album 2 years ago, a wonderful album of her original songs, but many of the other popular songs from the past she has reinvented in her own way. And that's why a lot of the elderly, you know, the veteran Congolese musicians, they all call upon her because they said, you have that voice of the roots. And she's been working with a lot of them, Niboma and Billy Abel. There's so many of them that she's worked with. And recently she was in Abidjan and she did a song with Toumani Diabaté from Mali, which is really unique. Yeah, so wonderful artist. And I think that song and that whole piece, you know, it really touches you because you can hear the emotion and the pride in looking around at a beautiful place, but also that sadness in saying goodbye to the loved ones.
Yeah. Our next artist is Tich. If you want to introduce Tich.
Yeah, Tichaona Maredza, a multi-instrumentalist again. And one thing that I've noticed throughout all of these artists is that, you know, they're very, most of them are playing a number of instruments, and Tich is also playing many instruments. In this piece, he'll be playing Mbira, the traditional Mbira from Zimbabwe, but I think the one he's playing, it's called a Nunga Nunga. He also plays marimba, he plays guitar, he sings, he's also a pretty good drummer. So he's quite diverse in that way. Now, Tich has won a Juno Award with his work with OKAN African Orchestra. He's also been nominated for a Juno last year. And right now, the group that he's playing with, OKAN, they're nominated for a Canadian Folk Music Award for this year. So he also has his own band, Tichaona Maredza Band, which is a wonderful folky, kind of rootsy Zimbabwean music. And he's quite a storyteller himself too.
Well, everyone, Tich.
Hi, my name is Tichaona Maredza. My full name is Tichaona, which means we shall see. I'm originally from Zimbabwe, Southern Africa, and I'm excited to be part of the OKAN Museum virtual mini festival titled Songs from Africa, Celebrating African History. So I'm going to perform for you two songs based on this traditional instrument from my country. It's been part of my culture for hundreds of years. It's called Mbira, M-B-I-R-A. So this is a very important instrument in my culture. And the first song that I'm going to play is called Pamberi Ne Africa, which means forward with Africa. It's a song that was inspired by the good things that happen in Africa. Like, for example, when we hosted the World Cup for the first time a couple of years ago, there was a lot of excitement in the continent, and there's a lot of other good things that happen that are sometimes never celebrated because there's always negative stories that people hear about Africa, wars, you know, political disputes and stuff like that. But this song was to celebrate the good things. But it was also a prayer to say to God, please grant us the wisdom to fight poverty, to fight disease, and also to be able to bring an end to wars so that we can have peace in the continent. Enjoy.
Bizai urwere ije wangu
unzai uvumi Mwari wangu, ngadzipere hondo Ishe wangu, unzai muvaro Bizaiga namoi Ishe wangu, ngaipere hondo Ishe wangu, unzai mupfumi Ishe wangu, unzai muvaro Wow. And my next song is a song that I was inspired to write specifically for my country, but it's something that's relevant to many other nations in our beautiful continent of Africa. This is a song that talks about, a whole lot of things go wrong in the country, whereby people are struggling to earn a living because of poverty. There is political disputes, there is wars, people are dying, and there's just everything's just not going well. And sometimes citizens want to express their frustrations, and there's nowhere else they can express their frustrations except to express them to the leadership of the country or the authorities of the country, who are our fathers. So I was saying in this song, when we express our frustrations, do not treat us as your citizens, as your children, with disdain, and look at us as enemies of the state. Do not victimize us, do not cause us to disappear or lose our lives simply because we are concerned about our country. So the song is called Nyika Inochema, which means the citizens or the country has grievances. Because, when things go right, everyone is happy with you as well. So that's it. Nyika inochema nemi, kana mjita zvinonyadziza ugani. Vana vanochema nemi, kana mjita zvinorwadzisa ugani. Dzinza rinochema nemi, kana mjita zvinorwadzisa vamwe. Dzinza rinochema nemi, kana mjita zvinorwadzisa ugani. Baba imi yewere yeyeyeye. Vana vanofara nemi, kana mjita zvinodadisa ugani. Vana vanotamba nemi, kana mjita zvinodadisa ugani. Dzinza rinofara nemi, kana mjita zvinodadisa ugani. Dzinza rinofara nemi, kana mjita zvinodadisa ugani. Baba imi yewere yeyeyeye. Yewere yeyeyeye. Yewere yeyeyeye. Yewere yeyeyeye. Vana vanochema nemi, kana mjita zvinorwadzisa ugani. Vana vanonyadzisa magizo gani baba imiye were ye Zinzarino nyarane mi kana mjita zvino nyadzizo gani Zinzarino nyarane mi kana mjita zvino jorezo gani baba imiye were ye were ye Nyika ino chemane mi kana mjita zvino nyadzizo gani Nyika ino chemane mi kana mjita zvino rwadzizo gani baba imiyerere Thank you.
Hey, the artist as activist.
Yes.
And no, well, taking on that role, and many of the artists have this in common, but you see it really strongly in his work, where the musician, the artist, as an agent of social change, talking about what's going on, what you want to see in the future, and he's young, right?
Yes, and that mbira is such an important instrument in many regions in Africa, but in particular in Zimbabwe. It was used during a lot of spiritual ceremonies for healing. It was also used during the colonization when artists were communicating with each other. It was actually a sacred instrument and a band instrument because it is used as a form of communication and also for spiritual healing. So beautiful pieces by Tichaona Maredza there. Yeah.
And our next artist is Fethi Nadjem. We go back up to the north of Africa, to Algeria. And I remember meeting him just a few days after he arrived in Canada, and he attended a jam session with Ravid from Yemen Blues.
Right.
And Shanir, who's also from Yemen. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was Shanir. No, it wasn't Shanir, but it was another member from Yemen Blues, and a few other artists that showed up. And wow, I was blown away from the minute I saw him perform. So really
another multi-instrumentalist,
exactly.
And one thing about Fethi that I found out is that I first saw him as part of Jamawi Africa. He belonged to that super group from Algeria, Jamawi Africa. So that was the first time that I saw him, when I saw them perform. And very dynamic, each and every one of them, but in particular, he really stood out there.
Well, everyone, Fethi Nadjem.
Hi, my name is Fethi Nadjem. I'm from Algeria. I'm so happy today to be part of OKAN Museum's virtual festival entitled Songs from Africa, celebrating Black history. So today we'll be playing one of my songs called Mulana. Hope you enjoy. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about this instrument. The gumbri is traditional Gnawa instrument, commonly called grandfather of the bass. It is made from the hollow wood and animal skin, as you can see, and has 3 strings. It is played with the index finger and the thumb, similar to the bass. Gnawa is both a musical style and the name of an ethnic group of sub-Saharan origin. It is a religious, mystical, musical genre, serving therapeutic purpose. Gnawa music is performed by Maryem, who played the gumbri, the same instrument, joined by Karkabu percussion section. Karkabu is this instrument, as you can see here. Yeah, so they make a lot of noise. Yeah, so now I will play a traditional song called Lafu. Hope you enjoy.
Wow, that's so trancy. I love.
Absolutely, a wonderful, wonderful piece by Fethi Nadjem, and yeah, that instrument, it just takes you places, you know.
Gimbri. Yeah, when you were saying earlier about artists not being able to have their full bands, you know, that type of music really is so trancy, and the rhythm is such a big part of it. But it also amazes me how I found Fethi's performance and recording, just that energy was there.
And it pulls you in. The
Yeah.
instrument brings you into it, and it's just such a spiritual sounding instrument. Yeah, really beautiful.
So we have one more group, and we've been in different parts of the continent. By no means have we exhausted the diversity, not only that that continent represents, but the diversity that's here in Toronto. As you said, most of the artists live here, and I know that in one of our previous conversations, when we were talking about the lineup and stuff, you were telling me about the importance of Toronto as a scene for music from Africa and Black history as well. You know, so I was wondering if you could just, you know, because what we'll do is, you know, we'll introduce the last uh, performance, and at that point say goodbye to all you amazing viewers out there who have joined us today. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it. And hang on, we have one more amazing performance. But before we get there, I wanted to ask you to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, the thing that I find unique about the city of Toronto is that it's a place where many African musicians have come together, and many are performing with each other in different ways. In other words, somebody from, let's say, Morocco performing with somebody from Ethiopia. This really doesn't happen within the continent itself. And it's a very large place, many countries, many cultures. So Toronto has kind of become that meeting place also for Africans to come together and, you know, be inspired by each other. And I believe that the music created in Toronto does not exist anywhere in the world. These artists are composing music which really wouldn't happen if they didn't all come together in this city of Toronto. So I think that's a unique thing about the city. And over the years, from the, I guess, early 70s all the way up till today, when all this migration of African musicians coming into the city, in the beginning they were kind of working a lot with each other, you know, because they didn't have people from their own place that maybe played or understood their artistic traditions. However, they worked together and made this very unique music, which is what you're hearing in Toronto. And many of these artists actually now, because the city has grown, there's been so much migration and so many African musicians have migrated to the city. It's a little bit different in this sense today than it was a few years ago, in that many of them are able to work with people who are from their own heritage, that know their traditions. And so the music is evolving again, and it will continue to evolve over the years as we see more people moving to the city, and also more African music. Hopefully in the future, we will see more and more of it. It's been challenging over the years to bring African music out into the mainstream, to have these artists visible. So I want to thank you, Amir, and also thank the Aga Khan Museum and the entire team for, you know, putting on something like this and presenting all of these wonderful artists. It's very important to keep them visible. You know, over the last year, it's been tough during COVID. Many artists are falling by the wayside. So I just want to thank you for bringing together all of this into such a wonderful, you know, concert event.
As I, Alhamdulillah, that's all I can say, right?
Alhamdulillah.
It's all of us, right? So, you know, one of the things that you and I've talked about many times and during this project as well was the influence of Africa and its music on the rest of the world's music. You know,
yes,
historically, so many genres, and so we really wanted to make sure that we included voices that, you know, an Afro-Cuban voices specifically, with the duo OKAN. Well, they're not really a duo normally, but during these times, and because they share a home, they were able to perform together. So I'm very grateful. Upbeat music from Cuba and Toronto.
and the African diaspora.
And the African diaspora, yes. So thank you everybody who's joined us here today, and hope you really enjoyed this as much as I did, and I'm sure Nadine did. And thank you, Nadine, again for agreeing to be a guest curator and working with us to do this festival. Thanks to Batuki Music, and again to Saba, Rachel, the whole team, and Hussein, who's behind the scenes but makes these things happen.
Doing a great job, Hussein. And yeah, so thanks to all of you who tuned in to watch. We really appreciate you.
And so we end with OKAN. Enjoy.
sun awa oma leri oma leyawo bobo egun kawe. Hello, everybody. This is OKAN, an Afro-Cuban band based in Toronto, Canada, and we're very happy to be here today. Please enjoy this concert. Algo y cambela hola o chambela wo. 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 Coro ambela wo. Ambela wo. Ambela wo. Ambela wo. Thanks so much for tuning in into the OKAN Museum Online Festival, and we're very happy to be part of this celebration of Black History Month with songs from Africa. So that was Sombras from our first album nominated for a Juno in 2019, and we are very, very happy to be here, and we hope you can enjoy another song from us that it showcases a whole different side of us, our classical training and our skills in violin, thanks to Magdali's writing this new song called Quick Stop. So enjoy.